Hello, hello. It's Business Partner B1 Plus, Unit 5 Logistics, Lesson 5.4 Business Skills, Part A. In this lesson, we will talk about negotiation, negotiating. And this is a very important lesson. Why? Why is that? Because we negotiate all the time. Forget about the business realm. We negotiate with parents, relatives, relationships at a shop. We are all negotiating. So what we are going to learn here in this lesson will help us in all aspects of our lives. So let's go. Let's see what we are going to see in this wonderful lesson. We are going to be aware of the stages in a typical negotiation, and we can use a range of phrases for each stage of negotiation process. It's wonderful because this is structured for us to see negotiation as something technical. But it's much more than that. But if we think about the technical areas of a negotiation, of a business negotiation, we can build up with our qualities and then we can reach better results. So look here at the beginning. A negotiation can be defined as a discussion between two or more people to reach an agreement. Do you agree with that? Do you? Yes, basically this is the definition of the word. But you can discuss what kinds of negotiation you have in a typical week. I brought here these words negotiation in some dictionaries. Take a look. We have here the Oxford Learners Dictionary. And listen to it.
Negotiation.
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 All right? At the Longman Dictionary, you can listen to it again.
Negotiation.
Negotiation.
The second one is the American version. But what I like about the Longman Dictionary is that you can place the example sentences.
The negotiations with the company had reached a crucial stage.
Listen to this one, and you are going to pay attention that he doesn't say negotiations.
This follows private negotiations between the landowner and the...
He says negotiations. Interesting, isn't it? Because I believe that most Brazilians would feel comfortable at saying negotiations, because in Portuguese it is negociação instead of negociação, right? But what is interesting about the Collins Dictionary is that a part of having the definition and the sound of it, you have a video with the word. Look, negotiation. It's a video in YouTube. Very short one.
Negotiation.
In which you see a person speaking that word.
Negotiation.
It's interesting. It's another option for you. All right, but let's go back to the book, because after you discuss with your partner, after you write in the comments what kinds of negotiation you have in a typical week, we can go to a list of qualities of an international negotiator. Which two qualities do you think are the most important and why? So why don't you write in the comments what kinds of negotiation you have and what two do you think are the most important from this list? Let's take a look at the qualities. A good or an expert negotiator can build excellent relationships. It isn't, I want this, and you get that. No. We are here to have relationships, and we can build excellent relationships throughout time. You can, or he or she can understand other cultures, right? Because it's an international negotiator. It's structured and analytical. Can you understand that? Of course you can. It's structured, so can understand different aspects and can analyze these differences to see the big picture, small aspects, and negotiate. Can influence others because if the negotiator is persuasive, he can help himself to have the other person accept your point of view or their point of view. Is competent with the content. All right, so what the negotiation involves. So he's competent, he or she is competent with that. Speaks excellent English. Oh, look, it's an international negotiator. Of course, if it's a negotiation between Chinese people and Japanese people, maybe the negotiation could be in Japanese or in Chinese, but English is usually excellent because sometimes they don't speak one of the languages from these two different countries. Is a good listener. Yes, it's very important to listen, to pay attention to what the other part says, and based on that, maybe try to get an advantage. Has the authority to take decisions? Yes, because if you can't take decisions, how will you negotiate, right? And it's flexible. Remember, it's very important for you to win, right? But it's important for the other one to win as well. Otherwise, how do you think you will build excellent relationships if you want everything for you, all the advantages? And finally, can be direct and firm if necessary. You have to state what you want. You have to be firm sometimes because sometimes you can't accept any changes, and then you have to explain that. Well, these are some qualities. Which two do you think are the most important ones? It's up to you. Write in the comments. I think that building excellent relationships is crucial. Being a good listener, but understanding what the other person says. Yes, I think these are very important qualities. And the C part, the third part here, how good are you at negotiating? Are you a good negotiator? What makes you a good or bad negotiator? I liked this part because, well, how are we at this? Because if we work with business, we have to negotiate. And it's very important for us to be able to negotiate. For example, a bad negotiator would give in too easily, would not work for their objectives, or would give up fighting for their objectives. And now we are going to see or to have a listening here. This listening is interesting because it's between Anne. She wants to negotiate new terms and conditions for travel exec services and has sent a 4-step meeting agenda to Anders, her counterpart in the other company, TravelX. In pairs, read the agenda and suggest what should happen in each step. Well, we have the welcome and opening, the beginning of everything, the beginning of the meeting. The proposals. What are the proposals? What do you understand by that? Discussion and find agreement and close. Close is the end, obviously, right? But the proposals is what will be discussed in the meetings. And then the discussion and find agreement. Well, you state what you want, and then there's the discussion, and you try to find agreement. That's it. And what do you do in the end? This is basically what you want, right? But let's understand a little more about that. Anne Roberts is a purchasing manager for a sports clothing company, Design Pro. It's fictional, right? With its headquarters based in London. She's meeting Anders Rick, a salesperson from Travel Exec, which organizes all travel services, flights, taxi transfers, hotel accommodation for Design Pro's staff who travel for business. So they work in different companies, but they are going to negotiate. What are they going to negotiate? Well, they want new, or she wants new terms and conditions for the services, right? So this is the agenda. And what does Anne Roberts do? What does she do? She's a purchasing manager for a sports clothing company. Who's she going to meet? She's going to meet Anders Rick. That's a salesperson from Travel Exec. What are they going to discuss? They're going to discuss and negotiate new terms and conditions for Travel Exec services, and it's about travel services, flights, taxi transfers, hotel accommodations, and so on, right? Okay, so what are we going to see in the first part? Because we have 4 parts. We are going to listen to how she opens the negotiation with Anders, and after that we are going to listen as Anne and Anders enter the second step of negotiation, the proposals, and we are going to listen as Anne and Anders discuss things in more details and what are the agreements, what the agreements are, and then listen as Anne and Anders summarize and close the meeting. Very interesting, very, very interesting. And in the end, we are going to discuss how effective do you think this negotiation was, or how effective you think this negotiation was and why. Let's go and listen to all of this. Let me go to the beginning, the first part, in which Anne opens the negotiation with Anders, and we have 3 questions. Why does Anne apologize to Anders at the beginning of the meeting? Oh, so sorry, I want to talk to you. Please give us better conditions. Is this why she apologizes? Probably not. But let's pay attention and be able to answer. What does Anne suggest? are the main items to negotiate? How does N suggest that they start the negotiation and why? So pay attention, okay?
Anders, good to see you again. Are you well?
Not bad. Just back from a weekend to see family in Copenhagen.
Very nice. We're just in here. Please take a seat. Coffee?
No, I'm fine with water, thanks.
Please help yourself. So, firstly, I should apologise for pushing. I really needed to have this meeting this morning. So, sorry about the very short notice. But we have some new financial objectives in the company from the board. So, I have a lot to do on this end by the end of the month. All very urgent.
No problem. We need to discuss next year anyway.
We do. So, as I said in my email to you, I think there are some important things we need to talk about. What I'd like to discuss today is, firstly, of course, price of service. Secondly, our cancellation policy. We have more and more cancellations, and we need to discuss how to handle this.
Okay.
Thirdly, quality. You know, we've had a few issues with late taxi pickups. Some hotels have been a little below standard.
Okay, very happy to talk about that.
To start, I'd like to hear from you first. We talked about these topics last time we met. Was it the end of last month? And you said you would have some discussions with your management. So perhaps it's useful to update first on how that went, and you can give me your first ideas on these topics.
Right? That was the first part, the welcome and opening. In that part, basically, it's the confirmation of the agenda and possibly who is present. Here was really easy. It was Anders. And did you see that it was a face-to-face meeting? He was there, she offered something to drink, and she was polite to him. It seems that they have a good relationship, good commercial relationship, and everything. Why does Anne apologize to Anders at the beginning of the meeting? Did you notice? She wanted that meeting urgently. She wanted that to happen with very short notice. Please, we have to have this meeting, and then they had the meeting. What does Anne suggest are the main items to negotiate? 3 things. Did you get? Price, cancellation policy, and quality of the service. Right? These 3 things. Then, how does Anne suggest that they start the negotiation and why? Well, she wants Anders to give his first ideas on these topics based on previous meetings that they had or that he had with his management. So Anders had some meetings with the management, his management, in which he could create some ideas about quality, price cancellation policy and quality. And then she wants him to tell her about that. This is interesting, very good about negotiation, because she's going to work on what he talks. And this is positive. If I tell you what I want, and then you can work on what I say. So it's sometimes very good to listen to what your counterpart is going to offer, and then you work on that. Let's go to the second part. And what is it about? We are going to the proposals. Anne and Anders enter the second step of the negotiation and note down the different proposals which they make for each of the 3 topics. For the second part, I'm going to suggest you to create a table, a chart like this, a table like this, look, in which we have price, cancellation terms, and quality. Anders is going to tell his ideas, and Anne is going to negotiate. Why don't you pause the video, draw this, or take a print, and you are prepared to make your notes. Is it okay for you? All right, so let's go to the second part. Oops, the second part I'm going to play, okay? Pay attention and note down the different proposals which they make for each of the 3 topics.
Unit 5, Recording 2.
Yes, we did have some discussions. So, okay, firstly, let me just check here. Yes, okay. On the pricing side, my proposal would be that we go with an inflation level price rise, which means just 2%. Because I think we both appreciate that the economic situation is difficult. So I think this is probably fair to both of us. On the cancellation side, the policy is currently that you need to inform us 8 hours before a taxi or a flight needs to be cancelled, or we will charge you for the booking. This is something we want to keep. We think 8 hours is reasonable. And then on the quality side, well, which is more on hotels, we only book as per your instructions, 3 or 4-star hotels, and we use the national rating system as a guide. The problem we find with hotels and experience of hotels, some people like one hotel and some people another. I realize some people are unhappy with some of the 3 stars, but some are happy. So we would recommend no change here.
We've had some very unhappy executives.
I realize that, but as I said, in some of the same hotels, we have happy executives, even from your company. So I think this is more around what some people like and don't like, and it's not really a quality issue. So how does that all sound to you?
Thanks for that. So, going through the 3 points, just to clarify, do you mean a 2% increase on both taxi and hotel accommodation prices?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, I think the 2%, that's a little high. We were hoping for something lower. Would you consider 1.5%? That is more or less in line with the current company policy on vendor prices. Before you answer that, on the flight cancellation side, because business is less and less predictable and more trips are being cancelled, we need to agree a different policy on this. We're paying for too many cancelled flights. My proposal would be that we go to 3 hours pre-warning of a flight problem from our side. I think that would really help us. Most trips are cancelled the morning of travel, so 3 hours would deal with this fine.
But 3 hours is very short notice.
It is, but it's reality. So we need to find a way around this. On the hotel quality side, I think we need to change how we do things and just go for 4-star instead of 3-star. Assuming we did this, we would want a 3-star price on all our bookings. I think this is justified by the volume of bookings.
I liked that a lot. Did you see? They are talking about these things like prices. He suggests an increase of 2% in services. Cancellation terms, they are working with 8 hours of cancellation. Like if they decide not to travel, not to have the service, they inform Anders' company 8 hours before the service, and they don't have to pay any charges, anything. And he's not happy with that. He wants that to decrease to 3 hours. And then the quality. He says, it's okay, the hotels are okay. Some executives are happy with the services, so they don't want to change anything. Well, Anne works on all the things here. She doesn't want to pay 2% more. She asks that to be around 1.5% of increase in prices. The cancellation terms, she says that she wants 3 hours. She wants to be able to cancel services before 3 hours of a booking of the service to be done. And the quality, she wants their people to stay in 4 hotels, paying the prices of 4 4-star hotels, and paying the prices for 3-star hotels. This is what they said. These are the proposals session of the meeting, right? And this is interesting because at proposals, they present their view of the situation with a space for clarification. So if you are in that part of the meeting, you can ask questions. So, sorry, can you explain that again? Can you state that idea in other words? It's fine, because you need to understand very well what the other person wants, right? And then we have the third part, the discussion and trying to find agreement. We are going to listen as Anne and Anders discuss in more detail and what agreement is reached on each point. Let's listen to that. A very interesting negotiation.
Unit 5, Recording 3.
Okay, thanks for this. I think this is very fair overall. On pricing, I can agree to 1.5%. We will need to review it again in the future, but for next year, fine. On the flight cancellation problem, your proposal is very difficult for us to accept. If we make a flight booking and then cancel it, we have a cost. This isn't something we can accept.
Okay, but then you need to negotiate with the airlines.
We do talk to the airlines, of course, but they're not always so flexible. And any negotiation on this takes time, so it's very difficult for me to accept this shift to 3 hours. We could maybe go to 6.
6? Okay, that might work. It's better than the 8. It makes it easier to cancel on the day of travel. So, let's agree to that.
Okay, good. And then on hotels, I think we can do this, but we will need to limit the range of hotels. That will help us to be more flexible on price. You have a big choice of hotels in some locations. Can we change this to 2 hotels per location, for example?
That seems reasonable. Okay, fine. 2 hotels per location. I think we have 6 in some cases, and that's too many.
Okay, good. Yes, so 2 hotels per city location, and we have a deal.
Did you understand what agreement is reached on each point? On price, N agrees with 1.5%, and they agree to review again in the future. But for 1 year time, it will stay in a rise of 1.5%. On cancellation terms, they agree with 6 hours notice for any travel cancellation. But this is positive for Anne because she wants to be able to cancel on the same day. So early in the morning, they can tell the company Anders to cancel and they aren't going to pay anything for that if it's 6 hours in advance. And about quality, they agree on booking only 4-star hotels at 3-star prices. But in some places, they have up to 6 hotels in the same city, and then they agree that they are going to reduce the range of hotels to 2 hotels in each city. So there will be 2 4-star hotels in each city, and they are going to pay 3-star prices. It sounds good for both parties, don't you agree? And then there's the last part of the meeting, that is to close a final summary where the agreement, if reached, is confirmed, minuted, and the next steps agreed. So they write down, or they state that what they agree in the end. And this is what we are going to listen here. Listen as Anne and Anders summarize and close the meeting. We have 2 questions here. Which topic do they make an additional? Oh, sorry. Discussion and fine, yes. Okay, we have seen this. Yes. Which topic do they make an additional agreement about? And what is the agreement? And how does Anne close the meeting? And how effective is it to close the meeting in this way? Let's see. We were here. Let's go to the final part. Of the meeting.
Unit 5, Recording 4.
So, is that everything?
Yes, I think we have an agreement. We said that prices would go up by 1.5%. We agreed to change flight cancellation time without penalty to 6 hours before scheduled travel.
Correct.
And we are going for 4-star hotels at 3-star rates, but with just 2 hotels per location.
Yes.
What do we agree as the 3-star rate?
But that's actually going to be difficult because the rates actually vary a lot. Can we take the average 3-star hotel rate in that location just to use as a benchmark?
Fine. Great. So thanks very much, Anders. If you confirm that in an email to me, then I will get agreement internally with my manager. Then we can draw up a new contract.
Very good. I'll email you by the end of this week.
Excellent. Well, that was quick and efficient. We have a little time for you to tell me all about your weekend in Copenhagen.
So which topic do they make an additional agreement about? And what is the agreement? It's about this 3-star hotels, 3-star hotel cost. They agree that it's going to be based not on a general price, but on an average of 3-star hotel prices in the city location. Because, for example, in New York, in Bombay, in Tokyo, prices are very different. They might be very different, so it's impossible to set a price for 3-star hotels. No. In New York, they take a look at 3-star hotels and they get an average, and they are going to charge with that price, even if people from N's company stay on a 4-star hotel. And this is what they're going to do in every city location, right? And then there's the second part. How does N close the meeting? Well, N focuses back on a personal topic, the trip to Copenhagen. Do you think this is positive? Well, if you reached an agreement, if the relationship is good, why not? The general tone is positive. So try to say something personal to build up on the relationship, to end in a relaxed way, formal, maybe respectful always, but on a more relaxed way. And this is positive to keep the relationship between the two people, the two companies, and this works well on a negotiation, even in a business negotiation. How did you like this lesson? If you liked, why don't you strike the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're here. And if you're really, really, really happy, why don't you buy me a cup of coffee? But have a great time. Don't miss the second part of this lesson. Part B will talk about the functional language regarding negotiation, negotiating, and it will be wonderful. Take a look. It will be here, lots of things and how we work on all the parts of a negotiation process. And we'll have a task, a practical part of the lesson. It will be wonderful, and I want you to watch the video. Thank you for watching this one. I hope I have helped you, and see you in other videos. Bye bye.